they knew Peter was as good as dead. They knew the last time that they saw him and he was captured, he was good as dead. That they were earnestly praying for him, right? So tell me about the church. What's the church doing? Praying for Peter. Does it say they just prayed like, hey Peter, I hope for God Peter? What are they doing? What's your Bible say? Well, what's your Bible say?
Earnestly.
Earnestly. They were earnestly praying for it, but they didn't believe it was him at the door when he came. So were they believing what they were praying?
No.
I don't know. But they were praying, so they must have been doing something. So they had earnestly been praying for Peter. They knew that he was captured, and King Herod, in the beginning of this, he was getting excited about how the Jewish people were treating him, right? Because he was persecuting Christians. So he said, well, let me capture him. You know, how many, okay, I may seem as judgmental. Please don't take it as that. How many of you guys play Pokemon? I still love you. But it's okay. How many of you guys got really excited when the Pokemon capture thing came out and you captured all the little
Pokemon Go was trash. I like the game.
Okay, but if you captured someone, did you get really excited? Okay, so imagine King Herod. He's like a bazillion times more excited because he's not a good king. He's an evil king. He wants to persecute Christians. There's several kings in the Bible. Some are good, some are bad. Some are good, some are bad. And then if you look at kings, there's kingdoms that do well, and then there's kingdoms that do bad. There's kingdoms that do well, and then there's kingdoms that come to ruin. Why do you think that is? Corruption. Because one serves the Most High God and one doesn't, right? So there's a big pattern of kings, and you don't see it going straight across. So Herod captures Peter, so he can really look good to the people. He doesn't care really about Peter. He doesn't care about what's going on. He really didn't even. The Bible doesn't even say he gave him a fair trial. He said this said that they were gonna prosecute him after Passover. So it sounds to me like they didn't want to really bring him to trial, even though they're gonna bring him to trial. He was murdering Christians, right? So it looks to me like the pattern says we're gonna bring you to trial, but you're gonna end up dead, right? According to what Herod wanted, right? But then God shows up, and Peter gets awoke while he's sleeping. So he's in, I don't know about you guys, okay? If I went to prison, I probably wouldn't be sleeping much. First of all, I would never do anything to go to prison. So if I was in prison, God would have me there for a divine emergency because there would be no other reason why I would need to be in prison. But if I was in prison, I wouldn't be sleeping soundly. I would try to be watching my surroundings, especially knowing that I'm wanted and they want to kill me, right? So he has this peace about him. And he has to be struck by the angel, and then he starts going through the prison. And what does it say in verse 10? What does yours say in verse 10? They pass what?
The first and second guards then take the iron gates leading to the city.
So one set of guards. Yep. One set of guards, two sets of guards. The cuffs already came off his hands. The chains already fell off in verse 8 or 7, right? And now what does the gate do? There's nothing holding it because when God steps in, nothing can stop it. When he wants his people to be saved and he wants his people to fulfill a plan and a purpose, there's nothing that can stop it. The only one that can stop it is us. But Peter was devoted to God. He loved God. He fell in love with God. And he was dedicated to God. Even in prison, he loves God. And he was teaching and preaching, right? So the gate just opened for itself, right? And then they went through it. When he had walked the length of one street, suddenly the angel left him. So he got a whole block away. So picture us going from here to Randolph. We just walk out of the prison and we walk over to Randolph, and then all of a sudden, the angel's gone. Why do you think, what, there's so much detail. Why do you think the Bible would put that they walked one street and then the angel left? Because he had enough distance. God knew that that's exactly where he needed to be safe, right? And then Peter comes to himself. Like, he thinks he's still kind of dreaming, right? He thought this was some kind of vision. Like, have you ever, like, been in a place where you have something going on and you're like, oh my gosh, this can't be real. Sometimes it's good, can't be real. Sometimes it's bad, can't be real, right? Like, you're just standing there one day and you're like, okay, God, you got me here. I don't believe this is happening, you know? When I go to certain conferences and at Bold, that was one of those things that was just so overwhelming. It was like, God, I can't believe this is crazy, because we've been praying for this. Like, leaders and church and people have been praying for movement and hearts to be changed and just pouring out of God's Spirit, and that was happening right in front of our eyes. Not only to our church family, but to several church families. You know, when we were kneeling, some of you hadn't gone to Bold with us, but when we went to Bold, it was a big conference, and there were probably a couple hundred people kneeling on the concrete floor, just praising God, and it was so beautiful. And that was one of those things like, God, I can't believe I'm here right now. This is amazing for me to be part of this, to see you at work, to see you doing your good work. And Peter comes to himself, and then he figures it out. Without a doubt, he knows that the Lord had sent that angel. Has there ever been anything that you were praying for that you knew without a doubt that God answered? Oh, I hope there is, because it's beautiful. God answers, and he comes through, and you're just like, how did that happen? How did that even come to fruition? How did it come about? So he sees it. He gets this reassurance that God is with him, that he's freed from Herod's clutches. And then he goes to the house, which I think this is the funniest part of the story. He goes to the house where his church family is, and he knocks on the door, and this person answers the door, Rhoda, and he's like, it's me, Peter. And she's like, oh, it's Peter! And she runs away. She doesn't open the door, right? She's like, oh, okay, it's Peter. Okay, good. So I could see, like, I don't know, probably a young teen like your guys' age, because that's probably one of those. And she was a helper and a servant in the house. Doesn't say much about her, but it says that she went to the door and she sees Peter and she gets so overjoyed that she runs away, right? Have you ever done that? You get like so excited, so happy, you're like, oh my gosh, you just like freak out. And so this is her, she does that, she runs away, and she tells everybody, Peter's at the door. And what does verse 15 say? Look at your Bibles.
You're out of your mind, they told her.
You're out of your mind. When she kept insisting, they said, it must be an angel. Why do they believe it's an angel? Why do they think that she wasn't telling the truth? We said it, right? Because they didn't believe, they probably would see her again, right? And they did. But they forgot a couple verses before that they had been praying for that. They had been earnestly praying, seeking God, praying for Peter. And he comes to the door, and they're like, you're out of your mind. It must be an angel. So now they all get up, because they want to see an angel. But the person they were praying for is like, oh, hey, Peter. You know, so they get up and they see, but it's Peter. And then Peter knows that he can't save them. That he knows God has set him free, but they're going to come looking for him. Because it says right away that Peter motioned with his hand to tell them to be quiet. Why would he tell them to be quiet? I think as soon as people started realizing that he escaped, the king's going to be on the what? He's going to be on the manhunt for him. He's going to want him. He wants him, because if the king tells anyone that he let Peter escape, the king looks dumb. It looks like he couldn't even keep a prisoner with 16 people guarding him, right? So what does that say about Peter's God? Yeah, you're not the king. You're not so powerful, because there's a bigger king than you. And he let him go. And he freed him. So he's going to send these people out. Doesn't say what he does, but Peter knows in his heart that he can't stay there, that he needs to go. And then after Herod searches for him in verse 8 or verse 19, after Herod searches for him, they can't find him. And he starts cross-examining the guards. Do you guys ever watch one of those Law and Order shows? Or like where they're interviewing like murderers or something like that? What do they do when they cross-examine someone? We're talking about King Herod, so think about King Herod. Not like Law and Order nowadays, okay? This is back in biblical times. So what do you think King Herod's doing to the guards?
Torturing him.
Yeah. Torturing him. What did you let him go for? What's going on? I'm sure he said a lot more than that, right? And probably put to death some of the guards, who knows? So, and then he ordered that, he cross-examined the guards and ordered that they be executed. The guards that let him free, he executes the guards. Just because they let Herod go. Was it their fault? No. I hope Peter got to their souls before they were executed. Because he was in prison with them. So, they're searching high and low, So, I thought about that for a second. And King Herod knew his kingdom. King Herod had enough of people to go looking for Peter. And out of the whole kingdom, wherever Peter could have gone, he couldn't have gone that far. It's not like we had cars and planes back then. So he had to be somewhere close, right? But I thought about that. I'm like, God, you hid him. You kept him. Because not only did you get him out of the prison, but you kept him. Because out of the whole kingdom, they could have found him. I know they could have. There was enough people. He couldn't have gone that far. He had to be there protected by some people that were other church members or family that was protecting him, or God had hid him so that he couldn't be found. And it brought this to me, the way that King Herod was acting and the way his behavior showed, he had a lot of demons inside him. Because he wanted to persecute God's people. He was not a nice man. He came after them. He executed his own guards, his own people, right? So God hid him so that the devil couldn't touch him. Whether it be the devil or King Herod. So let's look at the next part of this. So we're on verse 20. Then Herod went from Judea to, I don't know how to say the word, Caesarea, and stayed there. He had been quarreling with the people of Tyre and Sidon. They now joined together and sought an audience with him. After securing support of Blastus, a trusted personal servant of the king, they asked for peace because they depended on the king's country for their food supply. On the appointed day, Herod, wearing his royal robe, sat on his throne and delivered a public address to the people. They shouted, "This is the voice of God, not a man." Immediately, because Herod did not give praise to God, an angel of the Lord struck him down, and he was eaten by worms and died. But the word of God continued to spread and flourish. When Barnabas and Saul had finished their mission, they returned from Jerusalem, talking with John, also called Mark. And the chapter ends. The first part of this says the church earnestly prayed, and what happened? Prayer was answered. And God's people were protected, right? The second part of this, starting in verse 20, this king, who he thought he was so powerful, right? He thought he had control of it. He thought he was so powerful. And he was powerful in the world's eyes. Because the world actually was using him for food, right? And as soon as he thought he was more powerful, or he was powerful compared to God, what happened? Oh, he didn't just die, he got ate by worms. Yeah, circle the leg. And you know what strikes me so crazy is that it says immediately. Because Herod did not give praise to God, an angel of the Lord struck him down and he was eaten by worms and died. Immediately. Do you ever notice in the Bible, if you read it enough, immediately is a word that's used very often. It says, Jesus preached, and immediately they were saved and baptized. If they go the other way, immediately they pick the evil side, immediately they're dead. If you do a research on it, just do a research on it. It's crazy, but immediately they were saved and baptized after they heard the word, after they knew the truth, right? And immediately, if they tried to be better than God, or they were thinking of evil thoughts in God's presence or in God's house, immediately they dropped dead. Instantly. And what's so funny about this is they cut it off right there. They don't tell us anything else about King here. It's like, oh, that's it, he died. He's gone, right? He died. So God, His mercy and grace. However, what blessings could we be missing out? Because you are not obeying what you know God is doing. So when I was reading this, I thought, Lord, we're talking about revival, right? Revival's coming next week. I want all you guys to be here. We talked about it last week. Revival's not only about an event, but it's about your heart. And this is like a clear passage where in the same passage, it's like either you trust God and it's immediately taken care of, or you don't trust God and immediately you could be dead. Maybe not dead, body-wise or physically, but spiritually you could be dead quick. And it's so the way that Herod died is, to be eaten by worms and died, that's not even anything that's waiting for him in hell. So when we talk about revival, when we talk about God's mercy and grace, what is there? We say it over and over again, right? We say it over and over. Don't do this, do that. Don't be this, be that, right? But then if you go home and you don't apply it, or it doesn't sink in, you're just as good as dead. You're just as good as dead spiritually as you would be alive if you obeyed what God was telling you to do, right? And we hear it over and over and over again. And you know what's fun? You know what's funny about it? You're never going to get it until you get it. You're never going to get it until you choose to get it. I know a person just this week, and this is someone that I know very well. I know a person just this week that we have been praying for that person to be saved, to be in a loving, just be in love with Jesus. We knew that person when he was younger and he was saved and he was filled with fire for God. He loved God. He wanted to read God's word. He wanted to pray all the time. He had this fire for God, and he kind of lost it. He got in the world. He got distracted by alcohol and drugs and motorcycles and all kinds of stuff. And just this week, he got back with God. And he is more on fire than you see him and like, oh, I want to hang out with him so much. I want to just go by his house. But it's like he has this fire again. He has like this crazy anointing again. He's like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And I think you guys can relate, some of you, because when we came back from Bold, that was some of you. I was like, I want to, right? You can't even sleep, right? You're like, so hyped up, like you're like, this is the best Pepsi ever, right? Or Dr. Pepper, whatever you drink, but it's like, I'm so excited, I want to serve God. That's how God's calling us to be. That's the revival that he wants, right? He's saying immediately get yourselves together, man. Because this kind of life is different. And you're gonna see people who are so excited, and then you're gonna see some people who are just like, yeah, I'm Christian. I want to hang out with the excited people. Some Christian people. It's okay to be a quiet Christian. I think that, but I want to hang out with people who are excited about God, who want to do things for God. And no matter what's happening, God is in control. This week, I'm not going to tell you all the details, but we had a situation in our family, and I know God has told me something specific, and he said it over and over to me. Do not do this. Do not do this. And it wasn't anything bad. It was something to do with like finances. And he said over and over, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And I was like, God, but I don't know how this is going to happen. I need this amount of money, and I don't have this amount of money. And this is my own personal thing. So I said, I need this amount of money, and you said not to take a loan out. You said not to do this, but I need this amount of money, and I need this amount of money like now. So I started doing something. I started applying for an application, and in a loan application, in the middle of the loan application, you guys know nothing about this, some of you, but I started to apply to get money from the bank. So I'm in the middle of the application, and I go, and God spoke to me. I told you not to do that. I told you I have it. And I'm like, but I don't have it right now, God. I don't know what to do. I need it right now. So I still type a little bit. And it wasn't, this was the week before, but I still typed a little bit. And I'm like, oh Lord. And he's like convicting me. I told you not to do that. I told you I have it. I'm like, so I delete the application and I don't apply for it. So I go, fine, God, I trust you. I'm gonna let you take it. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I'm gonna trust you. And I'm like all this week, from probably Wednesday to yesterday, I'm like, God, what am I gonna do? Like, God, you have to come through. You have to show me what you're doing. I don't know where this is coming from, and I need it like now. You know that commercial, like, it's my money and I want it now? That's what I was saying to myself this whole time. And God was saying, no, I got it. And I was trusting God, and I was reading the word, and God showed me some really good, is it time, right? Am I going over?
No, we gotta go.
Okay.
No, we have to go. We have to pick up another brother.
Okay. So over and over, God's showing me, don't do it. I told you already. I promised you. I told you. And I'm like, okay, God, you're a God of your word. I know what your word says. You are meant to provide. So I let it go. I was praying. And a couple of times this week, I had fasted for a couple of meals because I'm like, God, if you really want me to get it, you really want me to do this, I'm going to do it. So I did it, and I'm not going to tell you it was easy, because it wasn't. It was so hard, because it's like, this has to happen for something else to happen. And I'm like, God, you have to show, like, God, I'm trusting you. And yesterday, God answered that prayer, and he came through with money that I didn't even know was coming my way. So I'm telling you guys, thank you. Yeah, you should clap for God. He brought it yesterday. And I didn't even know where it was coming from. It didn't come from a place that I thought it would come from. It just came. And he did it. There was nothing we did. There was nothing. And I had to repent when I had to delete the application that I was filling out, because even though it wasn't a sin to fill out an application, it was a sin not to trust my God. And I said, God, you have to forgive me. And I got on my knees and I cried. And then I cried again, because he came through, and he does it all the time. And our friend, one of our friends that, sorry, I'm preaching now. But yeah, one of our friends that we've been talking to about God, the one that's an alcoholic, and he's been calling Eddie and asking Eddie questions about God. So God is working in that. So I know he's going to call us and he's going to say that he's saved. I know I'm professing now. So this is the kind of God we're serving. Okay? This isn't the God that only came through for Peter. This isn't the God that rescued Peter out of prison only. He rescues us out of our school system. He rescues us out of our finances. He rescues us out of health issues. He rescues us out of relationship things. He rescues us out of every single thing that we need to be rescued out of. And all we have to do is trust him. Peter was sleeping. He wasn't even worried about being in prison. He was sleeping. He was quiet and calm. And it reminded me of the story when Jesus was on the boat, right? And everyone's freaking out and Jesus is sleeping. And the disciples are like, come on, there's a storm. And Jesus was like, you know? He's like, so I just want to encourage you this week, get in the Word. Get in your prayer. Spend time with God. We say it over and over again, but it's going to be life-changing. It's going to be day-changing if you set your day or some part of the day to spend time saturating yourself in God. And come to revival. But come to revival to get fed, not to get revived. You can revive yourself at home. Okay? You can revive yourself with music. You can revive yourself with prayer. You can revive yourself with the Word of God. That revives us. That gives us fire. And I want to say one more thing, and I'll be done. If you're reading and you're spending time with God and you don't see anything happening, spend more time with God. Be praying more, because breakthroughs are going to come when you spend time with God. And you might not see anything happening, But God is doing this whole thing around you to orchestrate things for your good. So keep on, because that's the kind of God we serve. That's the kind of God I serve. That's the kind of God you serve. Okay? Don't stop. Because even when I couldn't trust myself, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how I'm gonna get this. I don't know how you're gonna do it. But I know for sure when I was praying, he said, do not take a loan out. Do not be in debt. And I was like, well, God, I don't make a ton of money. Like, how do you want me to do this? And I just kept praying and praying and praying and praying. And God worked it out. I don't have to worry about it. And he did it just yesterday. That's the kind of God that he is. And when I updated my prayer journal. A lot of you guys know that I keep a prayer journal with the colored markings. I went through my prayer journal from April and I literally filled out pages of answered prayers. Pages, because I haven't updated in months. And I just went through, I was like, oh, praise you, God. Praise God. I'm like, did I do praise you, God? Praise you, God. All through my prayer journal. So he's that kind of guy. And if you don't know him like that, and I'm not saying it's not me that knows him that way only. It's who he is. It's God. It has nothing to do with me. But if you spend time with him and you spend time in his word, that's the kind of God you'll see. Because he'll show up. He shows up just like he showed up for Peter. Peter wasn't even worried about it. He didn't even, it doesn't say Peter was praying. It says that other people were praying for Peter. Right? I'm sure Peter was praying. It doesn't say it in the words. So he wasn't worried about it. He knew God had it. And that's the kind of revival. So I'm just going to close in prayer. And we're going to give like a couple of, I know you probably want to get out, but let's just take a few minutes because if there's anything you need to talk to God about, if there's anything, even I have a sense that some of you are like, wow, this sounds really good for you. And it's not good for me. So ask God, if you're feeling that way, or you're like, yeah, that's good for you, but that's not going to happen to me. No. If you're feeling that way, ask God, God, I want that to be me. I want that to be my story. I want you to so fill me and be so complete that I don't have to worry about anything. That I don't have to worry about finances, that I don't have to worry about relationships, that I don't have to worry about who I am to you because I know that you love me and that I'm worthy. Just you for all of me. Okay, so let's pray. God, we just thank you for this night. We thank you that you showed up for Peter, Father God, that we get to read about your glorious story in your word. Lord, but you don't only show up for Peter. You show up for us too, Lord. Lord, you show up in ways that we can't even see sometimes, that you're working together all the time for our good. Lord, but we need to do our part. So, Lord, help us. Strengthen our hearts, Father God. Give our hearts a desire and an urgency to read your word and to be in prayer for whatever's going on. Lord, everyone here has a situation that they can lift up to you in prayer. Right now, tonight, Lord, there's family issues and things that are happening, Father God, that only you know about, but you know about them. So, Lord, we just lift up this prayer, lift up our words to you, Father God. And Lord, while we sit here for a moment, just to talk to you and pray to you, Father God, help us know without a doubt that you are still protecting us. You are still with us. And you are still the God that you were for Peter back then, Father God. We just praise you, we honor you, and just lift up these prayers to you, Jesus.